Hi, I'm Marty Nemko. Many older people still have plenty of juice left and the advantages that only experience can bring. While some employers may not recognize that, your age can be a plus. Let's start with your pecuniary activities, the money-making ones. Of course, ageism may be one strike, maybe even two or three against you, in certain fields at least, like programming for a Silicon Valley startup comes to mind. But there are ways that older people can hit a home run or at least avoid striking out. For example, sell your age. In many cases, older is better. That wealth of experience, a bigger Rolodex. You're less likely to need to take days off for childcare. And plenty of people in their 60s have plenty of energy. You need to make that case, whether you're in your current place of employment or in looking for new work. In cover letters and interviews, you got to tell stories that demonstrate how your experience has enabled you to solve problems that might have stumped a less experienced person. Now, lest I appear Pollyanna-ish, I do need to say that it is much harder for an older person to transition into a new field. Why? Because even if you claim your experience is transferable, it's tough to convince an employer that a 60-plus-year-old newbie is better than a 35-year-old with experience in that field. If you want to make a shift, it's easiest if it's a minor pivot. For example, if you're, say, a psychotherapist, you might gradually shift your focus to older clients. But let's say you want a bigger change than that. Consider long-standing fields which have less appeal to millennials and Gen Zers. For example, food manufacture, trucking companies, building contractors, and old-line top-of-category companies like Procter & Gamble, 3M, Clorox, SC Johnson, Caterpillar, Weyerhaeuser, or an oil company like Chevron. If you do want to transition into a totally new field, consider those in which being older is a plus: senior housing, fundraising, durable medical equipment, or items so costly that mainly older people can afford them, like boats, planes, and luxury condos. Upskilling. If you're 60 plus, you probably don't have the time and maybe even the ability to time effectively get another degree. Fortunately, today there are many more time effective ways to learn: online courses or certificates through LinkedIn Learning, Udemy, Udacity, boot camps, and other intensives offered through your field's professional association like the American Psychological Association, the Project Management Institute, or a vendor, for example, Microsoft or Salesforce. Now let's turn to your non-pecuniary activities, those that don't bring in the dollars. Smart volunteering. Many older people find volunteer work the most rewarding retirement and pre-retirement activity. Mentoring particularly gets kudos. That's a potent way to make a difference because change is most likely to occur one-on-one. And that can be as psychologically rewarding for the mentor as for the mentee. For example, clients have told me they've enjoyed tutoring and being counselors at the Service Corps of Retired Executives, called SCORE, it's the acronym, which is mentoring young aspiring small business owners. And people who are psychologically oriented might consider becoming a court-appointed special advocate. The acronym is CASA. The next non-pecuniary activity I want to talk about is creating. Many people have a desire to create, and in most workplaces, even in an ostensibly creative job, you spend a lot of time on not creative activities. But if you're in partial or full retirement, you can make creative activities a larger component of your life. You can write. Anything from policy recommendations that you post on a blog to a screenplay that, while unlikely to be made into a Hollywood movie, is an especially enjoyable writing structure. Or take the visual arts. Even if you can't, like me, draw more than stick figures, there's photography. Then there are the performing arts, for example, community theater, magic tricks, open mic comedy nights, solo singing with an accompanist or in a choir, or joining or starting a chamber group or a rock band. Join up? Many people get more isolated as they age, and for some people that's fine. For example, they might feel uncomfortable with their decline on display for others, but many people are wise to push themselves a bit to socialize, if only at the local senior center or religious institution, in which you'll have kindred spirits. The takeaway? As usual, there are no magic pills, certainly not any that are going to stop our inexorable movement on life's conveyor belt. But maybe one or more of these ideas will help make your remaining productive years more productive, maybe even your best yet. Thanks for watching. I'm Marty Nemko.